Welcome to Alabama, where the sun is hot, the grass is green, and people like me are praying for fall. There's only one thing this summer heat means. We're headed back to school. Alabama has the 10th biggest bullying problem among all the states. Last year in Alabama, 20% of students reported that they had been bullied on campus. And 1 out of 6 of those skipped class because they felt they were not safe at school. Let's head over to the local high school and see how they combat bullying.
Bullying is a repeated and targeted behavior from one person to another or from a group to another for the purposes of getting power and control over that person. It can take a lot of different forms. Social and digital bullying is what we see the most here at Hayden High School, but we also have certain instances of physical or emotional bullying. It can take the form of laughing, picking on, gossiping about, isolating, making fun of an individual for the purposes of getting power or control over that person. Most bullies bully because they have low self-esteem and they're trying to make themselves feel more powerful by picking on someone else. Anybody can be a bully and anybody can be a victim of a bully. So bullies come to the table with their own agenda. Most of the time they're looking for an improvement in their own self-esteem or their own self-confidence by undermining somebody else's self-esteem or self-confidence. But many times they're coming from having also been bullied, sometimes from bad home environments. And the victims can be anybody. So sometimes it can be somebody that's very easy to manipulate because they cannot defend themselves, but sometimes it can be somebody who has fairly healthy self-esteem, but the other person is jealous of them and feels like they need to put them down to make themselves feel better. Preventing bullying in high school is very, very important because, number one, it's devastating to the victim. It's not healthy for the bully, and it can also be very disruptive in the classroom. So the best way to prevent bullying is to empower the victim. So if we can teach the victim to have certain tools in their toolbox that they can use to respond immediately when they are approached by a bully, that a lot of times it shuts the bully down. Also, we have to work with the bully to learn how to have respectful behavior in the classroom. Many times bullies are not taught to be respectful at home, and so we have to start from square one here at school.
As you can see, bullying is a big problem. And students are twice as likely to think about suicide if they've been bullied. The CDC reports that 20% of bullied students considered suicide last year, but 11.6% actually attempted it.
In certain circumstances, bullying can become so serious and so extreme that it can lead a student to begin to consider suicide or have suicidal ideation. In those circumstances, typically you have a situation that's not reported or has been ignored. Students that are afraid to tell anybody because the bully has threatened retaliation if they tell, or if they just don't know who to talk to. These situations lead the student to become very isolated and feel very alone and very powerless, and they don't feel that there's anything that they can do to make the bullying stop, and that's when they begin to look for an out. There are a lot of resources available to victims of bullying and even to the bully themselves. The first resource should be the parent. Other resources would be at school, a teacher or trusted adult at school, a school counselor, maybe a Sunday school teacher or youth pastor. There are online resources, websites such as bullyingprevention.com, and the Crisis Center offers a website for adolescents and teens to help with bullying and suicide.
If you or someone you know needs help, please call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline or 988.